started with one verse. August 2013, Kendrick Lamar drops Control and calls out the entire rap game, including Drake. From that moment, the balance of rap's throne would never be the same. Two titans, two eras, two definitions of greatness. Drake, the chart-dominating superstar who blurred the line between rapper and pop icon. Kendrick Lamar, the poet, the prophet, the perfectionist who wanted to remind the world that lyricism still mattered. This is the story of Drake versus Kendrick Lamar. Back in 2010, Drake was already hip-hop's golden child. So Far Gone had made him a star. Thank Me Later made him a millionaire, and his combination of melody and vulnerability was reshaping rap's sound. Meanwhile, on the West Coast, a Compton kid named Kendrick Lamar was turning mixtape circuits upside down with Overly Dedicated and Section 80. In 2011, they even shared space. Drake invited Kendrick to open for him on the Club Paradise tour. Kendrick would later appear on Drake's Take Care track, Buried Alive interlude. The tone? Respectful. Kendrick rapped about being inspired by Drake's success, but competition never sleeps. By 2012, Kendrick was carving his own lane. Good Kid, Mad City turned him into the new face of conscious West Coast rap. The album told stories, cinematic, spiritual, street. Critics hailed him as the savior of lyricism. Drake noticed, and quietly, the comparisons began. Was Drake too commercial? Was Kendrick too preachy? Both men kept it polite, until one song shattered the peace. August 12th, 2013, Big Sean releases Control, a track that doesn't even make his album because of sample issues. But Kendrick's verse? It's nuclear. Over a no-ID beat, Kendrick calls out nearly every major rapper of his generation by name. Drake, J. Cole, Big Crit, etc. And then declares himself the King of New York. It wasn't a diss in the traditional sense. It was a challenge. But Drake didn't take it lightly. A few weeks later, Drake told Billboard he felt the verse was cute, adding, "I know good and well Kendrick can't murder me on any platform." Translation: respect, but a jab nonetheless. The seeds were planted. From there, the tension lived in the subtleties. Drake's Nothing Was the Same dropped a month later. Tracks like The Language and Tuscan Leather carried hints, lines about rappers claiming the throne and talking like they're next. Kendrick responded live on stage, throwing subliminals during shows and ciphers. At the 2013 BET Hip Hop Awards, he rapped, "And nothing's been the same since they dropped Control," and tucked a sensitive rapper back in his pajama clothes. No names, but everyone knew who wore pajamas. The rap community was hooked. Fans began dissecting lyrics, comparing flows, studying gestures. It wasn't just music, it was a psychological chess match. Drake was the emotional strategist, a master of controlled narrative. Kendrick was the purist, the writer who wanted truth over vibes. The industry loved it. Conflict meant conversation, but the friendship, it was over. The years that followed felt like the Cold War of hip-hop. No open shots, just coded lines. Drake dropped If You're Reading This, It's Too Late in 2015, full of bars about rappers doing it for the lyrics and trying to prove something to the purists. Kendrick fired back with The Heart Part 4 in 2017, where he warned, "Tiptoe, I'm at your neck." Fans circled the date, Drake's upcoming More Life project. Sure enough, Drake's Do Not Disturb closed with, "If we talk in top 3, then you've been sliding to 3rd place." Coincidence? Probably not. Each release became psychological warfare. Kendrick's Damn won a Pulitzer, cementing his legacy as a lyrical god. Drake's Scorpion broke streaming records and fed pop culture non-stop. But beneath the numbers was insecurity. Drake's need to be respected as an MC. Kendrick's frustration that mainstream attention still favored chart appeal over craft. Both men were mirrors to each other's fears. Drake feared irrelevance without radio dominance. Kendrick feared dilution, that truth and art would drown in algorithms. That emotional contrast made the rivalry magnetic. By 2018, even fans had divided camps. Team Drake versus Team Kendrick, hits versus bars, popularity versus authenticity. Hip-hop hadn't seen polarization like this since Nas versus Jay-Z. After Damn, Kendrick disappeared. Silence that felt strategic. Drake kept moving. Scorpion, Certified Lover Boy. Her Loss with 21 Savage. He stayed omnipresent, streaming's king. But even in that dominance, he couldn't resist little darts. On Her Loss, Drake dropped bars that critics thought targeted everyone, including rich rappers acting spiritual. That sounded like Kendrick. Kendrick, meanwhile, released Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers in 2022. Deeply introspective, therapy turned music. But one lyric on N95, cut deep. Take off the foo-foo, take off the clout chase. It wasn't direct, but it fit Drake's caricature, a superstar wrapped in perception. Both knew the other was listening. Behind the scenes, industry whispers grew louder. Mutual respect had turned to quiet resentment. When Kendrick's cousin, Baby Keem, dropped Family Ties in 2021, he screamed, "Smoking on your top 5. It reignited old flames. Because who else was top 5 but Drake? For years they orbited each other, two planets in tension, never colliding, but always within gravity's pull. Then 2024 arrived, and everything exploded. It started small. Drake and J. Cole dropped First Person Shooter, a friendly track where Cole rapped, "Love when they argue the hardest MC. Is it K. Dot? Is it Aubrey? Or me? Harmless, right?" Until Kendrick decided to end the conversation. April 2024, Future and Metro Boomin release We Don't Trust You. Kendrick shows up on Like That. Over Metro's sinister beat, he detonates, "Mother the big three. It's just big me. No ambiguity, no subliminal." Kendrick just declared war. The internet caught fire. Drake responded with push-ups. In it, he mocked Kendrick's height, his Nike deal, even his features. It was classic Drake. Clever, taunting, funny. But Kendrick wasn't laughing. Days later, Drake released tailor-made freestyle using AI-generated voices of Tupac and Snoop Dogg to troll Kendrick. The move was theatrical, but also dangerous. Fans loved the creativity. Others called it disrespectful. Then Kendrick struck back with Euphoria. No metaphors, just surgical precision. He dismantled Drake line by line, accusing him of being fake, emotionally hollow, and industry manufactured. The tone wasn't playful, it was venomous. Each pause, each breath sounded like a man who'd been waiting 10 years to unload. Psychologically, it hit different. Drake had always controlled public perception. Suddenly, he looked vulnerable. Kendrick was no longer competing. He was dissecting. The internet declared it a 10-8 round for K. Dot, but it wasn't over. Drake returned with Family Matters, a nearly 7-minute assault where he accused Kendrick of domestic issues and hypocrisy. It was brutal, personal, a move meant to corner Kendrick emotionally. Within hours, Kendrick answered with Meet the Grams. The track unfolded like an open letter, addressed to Drake's son, his father, his mother, his alleged daughter. No hooks, no beat drops, just cold revelation. Kendrick accused Drake of moral corruption and emotional manipulation. It wasn't just a diss, it was an autopsy. Then came Not Like Us, West Coast bounce, stadium energy. It transformed the beef from lyrical war to cultural event. Clubs, TikTok, radio, everyone was chanting certified lover boy, certified pedophile. A diss record became a hit record. In hip-hop history, that's the checkmate move. By the end of May 2024, the scoreboard was clear. Kendrick Lamar, 4 to Drake's 2. The public had crowned a victor, but the emotional wreckage was deeper than numbers. For the first time in his career, Drake's invincibility cracked. And Kendrick? He stood taller than ever, not just as a lyricist, but as the conscience of a culture that was tired of facades. What made this feud different wasn't just bars, it was timing. By 2024, hip-hop was in an identity crisis. Then came two men who forced everyone to remember what it meant to care. Kendrick's attacks weren't only lyrical, they were philosophical. He called out Drake as a symptom of an era obsessed with numbers, not truth. Drake, in turn, defended the modern artist's right to be everything: sensitive, melodic, vulnerable, profitable. Their conflict became generational. Older fans saw Kendrick as the savior of integrity. Younger ones saw Drake as the symbol of evolution. Underneath the lyrics was psychology. Drake's greatest weapon was relatability, the fear of losing relevance that we all share. Kendrick's greatest power was detachment, the courage to walk away from fame and still matter. In that sense, the war wasn't just artist versus artist. It was ego versus ethos. As Not Like Us topped charts, West Coast pride surged. Clubs in Compton, Oakland, and LA turned the song into an anthem, a moment that felt like the 1990s all over again. And hip-hop? It split down the middle. Some called Kendrick's victory necessary. Others said Drake's resilience would eventually rewrite the story. But everyone agreed. They just witnessed history. Every era has a rivalry that defines it. Boogie Down Productions versus MC Shan. Jay-Z versus Nas. Now, Drake versus Kendrick. But what made this one so powerful wasn't violence or tabloid drama. Drake showed vulnerability, the price of staying on top too long. Kendrick showed conviction, the price of being uncompromising. But one thing's certain, after 2024, no rapper could hide behind streams alone. So now, we're left with the question, did Kendrick truly end Drake? Or did Drake just take the long route to redemption? Drop your thoughts below. Who really won, the lyricist or the superstar? And what did this war say about us? A generation that loves competition almost as much as connection. If you enjoyed this QuickNewzCutz breakdown into one of hip-hop's most explosive feud, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on all notifications. Until next time, be safe.